In this lesson, we'll learn how to read and write fractions to describe things that are part of a whole. A fraction is a number that represents a part of a whole. Fractions are useful whenever you need to split things up. Suppose you have one whole cake. You slice it up to create 4 equal pieces. Each slice represents a part or a fraction of a whole cake. So those 4 pieces are still the same as one whole cake.
Let's practice reading fractions. Sometimes you see a fraction written with a slash, like this. Sometimes you see a fraction written with a fraction bar, like this. Fraction bar. However you see it, you read the numbers by starting from left to right or top to bottom. Let's practice reading fractions. Let's read together. 1/2 or 1/2. 2/2 or 2/2. 3/4 or 3/4. 4/5 or 4/5. 5/6 or 5/6. 6/7 or 6/7. 7/8 or 7/8. 8/9 or 8/9. 9/10 or 9/10. Very good.
Let's take a look at what each number of a fraction represents. The top number represents the number of parts that we have. Okay? And the bottom number represents how many equal parts the whole is divided into. Now, each number of a fraction also has a special name. The top number is called the numerator. And again, the numerator represents the number of parts we have. The bottom number is called the denominator. And this represents how many equal parts the whole is divided into. Okay, quick review. What do you call the number that is circled? If you said numerator, you are correct.
Yay, good job.
Next one, what do you call the number that is circled in this fraction? If you said denominator, you are correct.
Yay, give yourself a high five. Remember that cake from earlier? Well, we wanted to slice the whole cake into 4 equal parts. If you remember, the number of equal parts a whole is divided into is the bottom number, or the denominator of a fraction. Suppose these 3 slices were eaten and we're left with just 1 slice. Remember, 3 slices were eaten. 1, 2, 3. So now we have 1 piece left, and that piece is called our numerator. That gives us a fraction of 1/4, 4 being the total number of parts in a cake. In other words, the 1 slice that remains in the fraction 1/4 of the cake.
Look at this fraction. We read this fraction as 3/5 or 3/5. Now let's match it with the diagram below. Right now, the diagram shows us 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 blue boxes. The whole rectangle is divided into 5 equal parts, which is represented by the bottom number or the denominator of our fraction. Our top number or numerator tells us how many of the parts should be green. Because that number is 3, we should color in 3 boxes. 1, 2, 3. And there you go. The fraction matches the diagram and shows that we have 3 out of 5 boxes are green. Let's look at this fraction. We read this fraction as 2/5 or 2 over 5. 2 representing the number of parts and 5 representing the total number of parts that equal a whole. Can you tell me how many parts will be green? Think time. If you said 2, that is correct. 2 parts will be shaded in green. Therefore, 2 out of the 5 boxes are green.
This is how 3/4 may look like in a pie chart. 4 represents the number of equal parts. 1, 2, 3, 4. The whole is divided into. 3 represents the number of parts that we have. Each part or fraction represents 1/4 of a whole. 1/4, 1/4, 1/4. Whoops, not that one, just testing you. So in conclusion, it should look something like this. 1/4 plus 1/4 plus 1/4 equals a total of 3/4. What fraction of the rectangle is blue? Think time. Here we have 1/7 of a whole and 1/7 of a whole. Therefore, 1/7 plus 1/7 equals 2/7.
In this lesson, we learned how to read and write fractions to describe things that are a part of a whole.